Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the AZF Stars channel. The place for you all to find information about anime, manga, and more. In this video, we will discuss Luffy's journey to defeat the Sky God. So, make sure you watch until the end. Okay. Oh yeah. Don't forget to press the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our latest videos. Your support means a lot, and of course, it's free. Let's get started.
After the Straw Hat crew celebrated welcoming the new crew member, they enjoyed the futuristic facilities of the Sunny Go. The Sunny Go has many useful features, including a large aquarium that can be viewed from the deck while gathering in the dining room. At that time, Nami noticed that the air was getting colder, and eventually, it started to snow. After sailing for a while, they encountered a dilapidated ship. When approached, the people on board claimed to be fishermen who had been robbed. Their condition was very pitiful, so Luffy invited them to eat on his ship, and Chopper treated the injured. But one of the ship's crew came out and spoke to someone over the Den Den Mushi. He reported that they had captured a pirate who turned out to be Mugiwara with a total bounty of 600 million berries. It looks like they are going to trap Mugiwara. Luffy welcomed his guest. The guests also praised Sanji's cooking. Meanwhile, in Chopper's room, a boy asked Chopper to treat one of his friends. Despite his doubts, Chopper hurried to their old ship, where he discovered a severely injured patient. All the wounds were festering and required surgery. Then, another crew member named Stenson gave Mugiwara a barrel of beer that had been medicated. Until everyone fell asleep, the fishermen discussed their malicious intentions. However, the Mugiwara crew were not affected by the drug. They were able to detect the smell of the drug in their drinks. Meanwhile, Chopper has successfully operated on the patient there. But he does not feel relieved because his patient still needs to be monitored. After the fishing crew was incapacitated, they intended to escape from there. But at that moment, Stenson reported to the mysterious man, and the man immediately changed the plan. That person gave orders to several of his subordinates. And not long after, the Straw Hats were surrounded by Marines, which turned out to be a trick. The Straw Hat crew managed to be steered to the place they wanted. Then those people would report to someone named Campechino. Without suspicion, the Mugiwara crew set sail. They also boarded the fishing boat. The fishermen thought the Mugiwara wanted to attack them. In fact, Luffy only wanted to pick up Chopper. Soon, Chopper arrived. He wanted to stop by the ship because he had a critically ill patient. Chopper's wish was fulfilled and Luffy waited for him. At that time, one of the crew named Jiro confessed that they were actually also pirates, namely the Phoenix Pirates. The man who is currently ill is their captain named Puzzle. He is a tough and determined captain. In fact, all his crew members believe Phoenix will become the Pirate King. On the other hand, the Phoenix pirate crew discussed that they did not want to get caught up in this situation. In other words, they were being trapped by the pirate hunters. Additionally, the Phoenix Jolly Roger was also seized by those pirate hunters. That is also what made the Phoenix pirates retreat, compounded by their captain being ill. However, the statement that they wanted to fight back against the hunters would definitely be opposed by Commander Stenson. Because he ended up cooperating to protect the lives of the captain and the other crew members. Meanwhile, Sanji and Nami were bewildered that the iceberg there was moving by itself. Then, The group of pirate hunters was preparing traps to capture the Mugiwara crew and take their Jolly Roger. The group of hunters was the Don Aquino family. Nami and Sanji, realizing that the iceberg was moving on its own, tried to inform the rest of the crew. At first, everyone just thought it was their imagination. However, Sanji provided evidence, and sure enough, the ice seemed to be leading them somewhere. Meanwhile, Captain Puzzle started to regain consciousness. He was also disoriented, and Jarek explained that they had previously been attacked by a major pirate in the New World. Even their first mate named Figaro had sacrificed himself. After that, Puzzle fell. Puzzle's fall left their pirates directionless. Finally, Stanton's second-in-command collaborated with treasure hunters, namely the Don Aquino family. Especially after the Jolly Roger belonging to the Phoenix Pirates was taken. Putting that aside, Jiro and the others were happy that Puzzle had recovered. Therefore, the Phoenix Pirates will reclaim their Jolly Roger and regain their glory. Upon hearing this, Luffy and Chopper feel that their task there is complete, until they are admonished by Puzzle not to go to the New World. Because it is a terrible place. Puzzle also decided to continue working with treasure hunters as Stanton did. Of course, the other crew members were shocked because Puzzle had lost enthusiasm for everything. They could only resign themselves and follow their captain. Hearing Puzzle's desperation, Chopper felt the urge to help him. Moreover, Jiro seemed deeply affected by their captain's decision. However, Luffy could not help because if they surrendered their Jolly Roger, then they would no longer be pirates. Luffy hurried. However, the connecting rope between the Sunny Go and the Phoenix ship was cut off by an ice rock. At that time, Luffy tried to destroy the iceberg. However, he realized that the Sunny Go was no longer there. Puzzle shouted that they were in Arctic waters and could no longer return to the open sea. Unbeknownst to them, it turns out that the Phoenix ship was being monitored by the Asino family's henchmen who reported back. They stated that Captain Puzzle and Luffy were on the same ship, so they needed to hunt them down. Meanwhile, on the Sunny Go, the crew was approached by two foolish couples and one little kid. They threatened that they wouldn't be able to get out of those waters. But, not long after, the Sunny Go sailed out with its features, surprising the Asino family. With some thought, a kid from the Asino family took the Jolly Roger belonging to the Strawhats and ran away with it. That was their plan to lure the Mugiwara crew back. Sure enough, Usopp realized that their Jolly Roger had disappeared and Zoro had also not returned to the ship. Learning that the Mugiwara Jolly Roger had been stolen by the Asino family, Sanji immediately turned back. Everyone was puzzled as to why Sanji was in a hurry. It was then that they remembered that if they were negligent, Luffy would scold them. Initially, they underestimated Jolly Roger. But, because they were afraid of being seen as foolish by their own truly foolish captain, they decided to take it back. In addition, Sanji also mentioned that the Jolly Roger is the symbol and honor of the pirate crew itself. Nami then borrowed a new feature of the Thousand Sunny, which is the submarine Hyo, to solve the mystery of the moving iceberg. As Nami and Frankie were exploring, they were suddenly surrounded by ferocious penguins that caused the iceberg to move due to their pushing. Meanwhile, the Sunny Go was hit by a wave that scattered the other crew members. Because of that wave, the Asino family became aware of the existence of the Mugiwara crew. Then, Sanji and Usopp, who got separated together, ended up stranded in the base of ferocious penguins that immediately chased them. Meanwhile, Luffy and Chopper said their farewells and went to search for the Sunny Go using the duck boat owned by Phoenix. After Luffy left, the Phoenix pirates were visited by the Asino family, who were interested in the presence of the puzzle that was said to be dead. Sanji and Usopp, who managed to escape from the penguin, were approached by the Asino family couple. Then Sanji, who is a flirt, immediately approached the woman. Without further ado, Sanji was kicked straight away. They also exchanged kicks until the woman acknowledged Sanji's strength. Meanwhile, Nami and Frankie also encountered the third child of the Asino family. He attacked Frankie and Nami with his ice-throwing ability. On the other hand, Robin, who managed to stay on the Sunny Go, was visited by a little child from the Asino family. The child named Lil kept inviting Robin to play together. Meanwhile, Luffy and Chopper returned to the Phoenix ship. They asked for a ride on the ship. However, the second child of the Asino family, who happened to be looking for Luffy, was there. That was where Luffy learned that his Jolly Roger had been taken by the Asino family. The Asino family also opposes Luffy. Will Luffy be able to take back his Jolly Roger? Meanwhile, the lost Zoro ends up on a large island. It is suspected that this island belongs to the Asino family. On the Phoenix ship, Luffy kept pressuring the Asino family. He was then told to go to Lovely Land, the place where Jolly Roger belonging to Luffy was located. But Luffy still attacked him. Meanwhile, Robin was still persuading Lil. Until Lil told Robin that she wanted to play with him. Without thinking twice, Robin agreed. Meanwhile, Sanji and Usopp were still disgusted by the foolish Achino family couple. Usopp, who had regained his composure, also managed to evade their attack.
By the way, before we continue, for those of you who are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe first. Just click the red button below, it's free, and you will get more exciting content from me. Okay, let's continue.
However, Sanji, who is clueless about women, keeps getting beaten up. On the other hand, Nami and Frankie are reluctant to deal with their third child. Especially since the weather is getting colder due to the attack from the third child. Back to Robin, he continued playing with Lil. Until Lil told him that Jolly Roger from his room was in his father's room. With that Jolly Roger, his family could lure pirates who have a bounty and capture them. It became a gift for his father on his birthday today. Luffy, who was almost able to catch the second child, fell into the water, causing the second child named Blind to escape. However, suddenly the puzzle chain tied up Blind, causing him to be captured. There, Jiro wondered why just because of Jolly Roger, Luffy would go to such lengths. He remembered the puzzle when he first placed his Jolly Roger together. And he vowed to become the Pirate King under his Jolly Roger. In another session, Usopp managed to blow up the face of a woman named Arbiel, who was a foolish couple. As a result, Usopp was chased by her partner. Back to Luffy. He was saved by a puzzle because it reminded him of his past spirit. Meanwhile, at Lovely Land, Ashino's family father Campachino was waiting for Mugiwara's Jolly Roger. Briefly, he also saw someone passing by. However, his child ignored it, thinking that his father was drunk and hallucinating. Then, Frankie and Nami were captured by Ashino's third child because Yunya's submarine was frozen. The news reached Robin, who gently extracted information from Lil. Robin also managed to persuade Lil to take her to Ashino's house. There, Jiro often threatened the man with the name Blindito. However, Puzzle did not take any action. Instead of retaliating against his opponent, Puzzle wanted to offer his own head for the sake of his subordinates. Suddenly, Luffy threatened Blind and ordered him to return his Jolly Roger. Meanwhile, Robin and Lil headed to Lovelyland at Robin's request. As for Nami and Frankie, they were already taken by the third child of the Ashino family, also known as Shihoki Shiraka. On the other hand, Sanji and Usopp also lost against the Ashino family duo. As usual, Sanji was too soft on women, which led him to be attacked. Back on the Phoenix ship, Blind called his twin brother. They immediately bonded because of the magnetic force between them. At that moment, the Blind brothers attacked Luffy, causing him to be separated from Chopper and the Phoenix pirates. Meanwhile, in Campechino's room, Zoro, who had gotten lost, was drinking with the head of the Ashino family. Zoro was also shown Campechino's Jolly Roger collection. Then came the Mugiwara's Jolly Roger in Campechino's possession, which made Zoro surprised and angry. Meanwhile, Luffy was still fighting the Blind brothers. Due to the twins' unusual fighting style, Luffy found himself overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Frankie and Nami were placed in a natural freezer belonging to the Ashino family. Inside, Sanji and Usopp were already there. They tried to escape until Frankie used his technique and they fell because there wasn't enough cola. Then the Ashino family immediately rushed home after receiving news that their father was furious because they took too long to carry the pirates' embers. And sure enough, their father, Don Ashino, was angry because Zoro had successfully sneaked in there. Zoro was also thrown into the same refrigerator. They also felt unable to contain their father's anger. Arbel quickly contacted his brother, the Blind brothers. Therefore, without finishing the fight with Luffy, the Blind brothers immediately turned back. Not long after, Robin visited the crew who were in the Ashino family's fridge. They hoped Robin would save them. But Robin chose to persuade Lil because she was the key to freeing his friend. And sure enough, Robin sent a bag filled with cola which allowed Frankie to release all of them from the refrigerator. In another scene, Luffy returned to Chopper. He invited Chopper to take their flag. Jiro's earlier guess made Puzzle's heart feel moved upon hearing that Jiro believed Puzzle would become the Pirate King. Finally, Luffy headed towards Lovely Land. When he got closer, Luffy shouted, which made Don Ashino excited to see Luffy. The crew, who had just been freed, immediately entered Ashino's house. There, Shizoro ended up being the guide because he said he had been to Ashino's room before. After wandering around for a long time, they still couldn't find the room. But soon after, Robin came and assured them that she would take care of their flag before Luffy found out. Meanwhile, outside, Luffy was already confronted by the Ashino family. They began their battle. Even Jiro and Chopper were also fighting Ashino's third child, who had the power to command penguins. After a while, Puzzle and his crew arrived as well. He saw Jiro fighting with only a wooden stick. It was at that moment that Puzzle's spirit was reignited. Since the Phoenix Pirates regained their spirit, Puzzle decided to help the Strawhats. Soon after, the other members of the Mugiwara crew arrived, and Luffy asked them where their flag was. However, they decided to tease Luffy and joined the fight to distract him. Meanwhile, Robin was taken by Lil to a greenhouse nearby. He reveals that Lil lied to get him to Ashino's room. Lil also knew that Robin was going to leave him. That's why he trapped Robin and forced her to be his sister. Back at the Lovely Land page, all of Ashino's children had been defeated. Soon after, Don Ashino himself appeared. Luffy then exclaimed for him to return his Jolly Roger. But Don Ashino was only angry because his child was knocked out. Luffy continued to put up a fight. However, Don Ashino had the upper hand because of his devil fruit power, the Atsu Atsu no Mi, which allows him to control the heat temperature of his body. While Luffy is fighting, Chopper and Zero will also infiltrate Ashino's house. Unfortunately, they end up being thrown out by Ashino. On the other hand, Puzzle successfully defeats Magnet and plans to enter Ashino's house. Meanwhile, the crew was chasing their ship that drifted away on its own. Due to the island being extremely hot, Nami realized something. It was not only Don Ashino that made the island hot, but there was also an underwater volcano beneath it. Meanwhile, Robin managed to calm Lil down and give her some understanding. Sanji and Usopp were also there to help Robin. After Lil was successfully calmed down, the three of them hurriedly left. On the other hand, Chopper, Zero, and Puzzle managed to retrieve their Jolly Roger. Shortly after, Don Ashino crashed into the wall there, causing all of his Jolly Rogers to scatter. As suspected, the Jolly Roger that Chopper picked up was the wrong one, causing them to panic because all the Jolly Rogers had flown everywhere. Then outside, Don Ashino raised the temperature again to challenge Luffy. He even insulted Luffy because he would be going to the New World. Luffy fought Don Ashino, accompanied by Nami's accurate premonition, which was that an underwater volcano erupted there. Meanwhile, Robin and the others gathered in Don Ashino's room. They didn't know how to get his Jolly Roger, but suddenly one of Lil's birds came and delivered it. Lil did that because she seemed sad for him. He even truly wished that Robin would become his sister. Because of that, the understanding Robin did not forget to thank him. Then, the Phoenix pirate crew, who had succeeded in reclaiming their ship, panicked because the Penguin approached the Mugiwara ship. And suddenly, Frankie came with his HYU to save Sanago. Back to Luffy, he was in a pool of lava, which Ashino considered just regular water. It was there that Ashino mocked Luffy, calling someone who risked their life for a piece of the Jolly Roger cloth foolish. Upon hearing that, Luffy became furious and then flung Don Ashino's body toward his house. After Don Ashino was defeated, the crew immediately ran towards the Sanago with the Mugiwara Jolly Roger. They were avoiding Luffy, who knew that their Jolly Roger had actually been taken. Until finally they reached the ship and could assure Luffy that their Jolly Roger had been safe all along. On the other hand, the Phoenix pirates were also excited to set sail again. It was as if they were reborn to start a new adventure. Back to Sanago, they had all gathered, but the underwater volcano began to erupt. Nami was right that Don Ashino was moving the magma inside the mountain, which caused the mountain to explode. After escaping, they saw the island disappear. Meanwhile, the Ashino family sailed on a ship. There, Arbel was seen apologizing to Lil for being overly infatuated and neglecting his sister. Earlier, Blind's sibling blocked Mugiwara to exact their revenge. But fortunately, there was the Phoenix Pirates who defeated them. The Phoenix Pirates also gave a farewell greeting. They also promised to meet in the New World as enemies later on. In the midst of the bright ocean, the Straw Hat crew enjoys their time together. Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper are playing on a swing. There's also Frankie, who is modifying Nami's waver. Sanji, who is cooking, also asked Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper to fetch an octopus from their aquarium. Meanwhile, Zoro noticed a barrel in front of them. Without thinking twice, they took it. The barrel had an inscription that read, "Offering to the gods." Initially, they thought it only contained sake. But when it was opened, a beam of light shot up into the sky. During that time, a storm hit them. Consequently, they had to work together to keep Sunny from being led into evil. After getting through the storm, they were still covered by dark clouds even though it was still daytime. They began to tell stories about the scary incident, about the Florian Triangle that Gokuro mentioned. But soon, a large ship with a skull on it appeared. The skull was moving and singing. All the crew were shocked. However, only Usopp, Nami, and Chopper were very frightened.
Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you like the content, don't forget to click the like button, share it with your friends, and write your thoughts in the comments section. I really want to hear what you think. And of course, for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, just click the subscribe button below and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of the exciting upcoming videos. Remember, your support makes this channel more enthusiastic about creating content. See you in the next video. Stay healthy, stay spirited, and always be the best version of yourselves. Bye.